in exposing anyone's sin, for he or she may be forgiven for it. And do not feel yourself safe, even for a small sin, because you may be punished for it. Therefore, every one of you who comes to know the fault of others, and let's, when you go home, write this in big letters, big fonts, and put it in front of our desk. Therefore, every one of you who comes to know the faults of others should not expose them in view of what he knows about his own faults, and he should remain busy in thanking Allah that he has been saved from what others have been indulging in. Don't be proud, but thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he gave you ability and tawfiq not to be involved and indulge in that sin. What are the causes for backbiting? In many books of akhlaq and commentaries on Nahjul Balagha, there are few causes are mentioned, but I am going to summarize them in 4, referring to many references, ulama of akhlaq, spirituality, and commentaries on Nahjul Balagha. The causes for backbiting, in summary, are: 1, to abase other, feel superior to them. Because you think that you are very, very good, you are pious, you are a person of virtue, you are very good in faith, but they are not as good in their faith as you are. So in this way, you try to abase them, or you feel superior to them. It is good to feel superior if you remember that you are insignificant to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What was the fault of Iblis? What was the fault of Iblis? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered all the angels to prostrate before Adam alayhi salam, فَإِذَا سَوَيْتُهُ وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ فَسَجَدَ الْمَلَائِكَةُ كُلُّهُمْ أَجْمَعُونَ إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ. All angels prostrated before Adam. Iblis did not. Why? Because he said, أَنَا خَيْرٌ مِّنْهُ. And sisters, the center point of all mischief and all offenses is this. What Iblis said: I am better than him. I'm greater than him. I'm superior to him. أنا خير منه. أنا خير منه. 3 words. I am better than him. Why? خلقتني من نار وخلقته من طين. You created Adam from clay. You created me from fire. And is in his imagination and conclusion, fire has got heat, no heat in the clay. Fire produced light, and no light as he imagined in the clay, in the soil. So أنا خير منه. So the moment, and this is one of the advices normally given by the teachers of ethical training and spiritual training and spiritual purification, is the moment people talk good about you and praise you for something good you have achieved, immediately you look at your Lord and say, Allahumma ij'alni khayran mimma yadhunnun. Oh Allah, make me better than what they think about. Or remember what the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam said, that إن النفس لأمارة بالسوء إلا ما رحم ربي. The soul, the ill desires, always want to push you towards something wrong. So the first one, to feel superior to others. The second one, influenced by rage and anger. And again, rage and anger lead to jealousy, and this jealousy makes people who are jealous to do what? To do backbiting of others. The third one, to belittle someone in advance when it is feared that he will expose faults of backbiter. Someone did something wrong, and somebody noticed him or her, and I fear that if I keep silent, he will go here and there and uses as negative point about me. So in order to make people not to believe in him, I mention something like ghiba or tuhma, so people don't believe in him. Oh, he's a liar, he's a liar, okay? And by saying he's a liar, trying to reduce the credibility that people would listen to him. And the last one, of course, I said there are many, but I chose only 4, yeah? And this is here to express sadness and sorrow by saying so-and-so has fallen in such and such a sin. Of course, there are some exceptions mentioned in the books of fiqh. Normally, we teach them in 2-3 days in detail about the detail of mustathnayat al-ghiba, yeah? The exceptions. First one is like when somebody wants to ask the hand of a girl, or the other way around, and you know that person, so people consult you. What do you know about this? So if you keep silent and do not explain the shortcomings, they will fall in trap and are cheated. So if somebody wants to start a business as partner in business or marriage or something like that, and they ask you, here the significance and the importance of avoiding people from being cheated or misled is much more important than that particular ghiba. But it must be like only for that particular reason, not just go and talk about it. And the second point is that when someone is oppressed and you go to someone who is able to help you to redress, yeah, and complain, to say, for example, when a lady comes to me and complains about her husband, this and this, I say, look, I only listen to you just in a way, an attempt to make things good and trying to redress things. And then I call upon your husband and try to advise him. Otherwise, please keep in mind that it is haram on me to listen the ghiba of your husband. You are telling me he did this, he did that, and I wasn't there. When he hears about it, he will not be happy, all right? So I only listen, or any judge, or any qadi, or any alim is permitted to listen when he's able to what? To redress and make things good. Otherwise, it is ghiba. Now, let's move to the next khutbah, and that is 141 or 140 with the red copy. أيها الناس، من عرف من أخيه وثيقة دين وسداد طريق فلا يسمعن فيه أقاويل الرجال. أما إنه قد يرمي الرامي وتخطئ السهام ويحيل الكلام وباطل ذلك يبور والله سميع وشهيد. أما إنه ليس بين الحق والباطل إلا 4 أصابع. فسئل عليه السلام عن معنى هذا فجمع أصابعه ووضعها بين أذنه وعينيه وقال: الباطل أن تقول سمعت والحق أن تقول رأيت. O people, if a person knows his brother, sister, to be steadfast in faith and of correct ways. He should not lend ear to what people may say about him. It happened in few occasions that I invited someone to speak here, or for example, something I wanted from him. And the other day, I received a phone call or a letter that, do you know about this person? He is so-and-so, he's done this and that, and in the old days, he used to say, don't listen to Ayatollah so-and-so, or things like that. How can you invite him? And because there is no address to write to them, yeah, it is the person has concealed his ID, yeah, I just throw it in dustbin. I never listened to anyone whom I know that he's the right person, but somebody phones me to know, oh, do you know about this? Or send me a letter. Forget about and leave alone what people write in newspapers, articles, and sometimes leaflets, yeah, to lessen or to cause damage to the personality of others. So, this is what Imam Ali alayhi salam advises us by. And he explains, sometimes the bowman shoots arrows, but the arrow goes stray. Not everybody is precise in, yeah, reaching the target. Similarly, talk can be off the point. Its wrong perishes, while Allah is the hearer and the witness. So Allah knows better. He is observing and is aware of everything. Don't think that whatever they say is correct. There is nothing between truth and falsehood except 4 fingers. Then people who would listen to Imam Ali alayhi salam in the mosque of Kufa, between truth and falsehood, only 4 fingers? That's very little distance. So Imam alayhi salam put his 4 fingers like this between his ears and his eye, and said that it is falsehood when you say, I have heard so, while it is truth when you say, I have seen. There are people, as soon as hear something, I'm sure that you have gone through that. For example, you are at the college or the high school. As soon as you reach home, your colleague has picked up the phone and chat this. Do you know this happened, that happened, this, oh, this, do you know that girl? Oh, this did that. Oh, do you know that's what? All right. So the only response to that is, please put the phone down. Please, I'm not happy to hear about that. But if you make it simpler, you say that Imam Ali alayhi salam said that the distance between the truth and falsehood is only 4 fingers. So if you heard something, just ignore it. And nowadays, in the computer, there are many good things that we learn from, and that is the recycling bin. Yeah? When you have in the lower part of your computer, that recycle. Sometimes this information, you open your email and you see that there are many emails which are not that important. Just delete, full stop. Sometimes after you read them, delete or put in the recycling bin. How simple is that? Because not necessarily that what you heard. And psychologically, when in use, move from one person to another, there is a little change and alteration in it. For the second person, a little alteration. For the third, a little alteration. And it has been proven that after 7 or 8 stages moving from one to another, the story becomes 100% exactly opposite of the old story. Because if the first narrator changes only 10% or 15%, nothing. I mean, okay, you said that he did this. No, I said, I think he did that. What's the big difference between you saw and you think? Or what is your understanding? What's your imagination? All of these do not work. Otherwise, if you hear, my sisters or my nieces, if you hear any wrong about your cousins, about your neighbors, about your colleagues, or anyone, don't pay attention to it at all. But when you see it, then you have the choice to see whether it is part of those things which you have to interfere, and by interfering means that trying to make things good, giving the right advice, all right? If not, just zip it and do not talk about it. Because always there is possibility that we fall in the same trap as those people have fallen in. Maybe they are forgiven, but we start anew. And when you try to inform others about it, we are putting more fuel on the fire, and that is not what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us in getting the right guidance from the Quran, from the sayings of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and from the sermons of Imam Ali alayhi salam, who was the true student of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah accept your amal. Looking forward to meeting you next Sunday as the last one in this session, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enable us to recognize the truth and act upon it, and recognize the falsehood and avoid it. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammadin wa ajil farajahum.
In order to talk about personalities of Imam Ali alayhi salam, it's really difficult to try to bring it down to one or two. I guess I've chosen to speak about two main personalities, which I find quite important for me because it's helped me to implement them and learn from them. One of the main important things is, like, Imam Ali tells us quite a lot about how to be a good mu'min. I mean, we have his Nahjul Balagha that clearly discuss the personalities of a believer and a mu'min. I guess for me, I've chosen to speak about his patience. I think it's something that I personally might have lacked in my life as I was growing, and therefore I struggled a lot. But only when I learned that this is one of the great characteristics of a true mu'min, having learned from the Nahjul Balagha, I went and searched a lot about this and what Imam Ali alayhi salam meant by patience. There's obviously a lot of sermons about Imam Ali's patience, but one of the things that really it comes to my mind that I can talk about is how you stay patient with what's been happening around you when things are against you, when things are not the way you would like them to go. For example, we all know that Imam Ali clearly knew about his own imamah after the Prophet had deceased, and it's really important. And a lot of people do ask, why did Imam Ali keep quiet? I was one of those people that I might have questioned it. However, when you get to know that that was part of his patience, he was advised and actually required by the Prophet to keep patience through the difficult times that is coming to come ahead, basically after his death. I feel that has really helped me as a person, having lived in Europe, struggling to get through the ladders of careers and working in a community where not everyone's similar to your beliefs, and you're trying to keep your own faith and similarly want to success in your career. So much has happened because you are who you are, and the way you're dressed can get in the way because you cannot go to certain positions, and then you feel betrayed at times that you can clearly